Back to Genesis with Dr. John Morris, scientist and author with the Institute for Creation Research. Dr. Morris, does natural selection occur today?
Chris, God created each basic category of life with a built-in adaptability to various conditions. Natural selection can choose from the variety which best fits an environment. But note that this is not evolution. It's merely selection of genes which already exist. Nothing new has evolved. Recently, a population of island lizards was introduced onto a new island. In 20 years, they had adapted, and their average leg length was shorter. Evolutionists crowed that this was a great evolutionary advancement, but big deal. Natural selection had occurred, but not evolution. Natural selection is not a creative process. Creation, now that did occur by the supernatural powers of God, back in Genesis.
For more information on science from a Christian perspective, visit us on the web at www.icr.org.
Islam pushing for world dominance. Our topic today, Usama Daktak is our guest, founder of the Straight Way of Grace Ministry, born and raised in Egypt. He knows Islam inside out and has translated the Quran. He has certainly offered to debate those who are within the Islam community. Many will not debate him because of his knowledge of the Quran, and he does not want people to be baffled by the sweet talk that goes on about know your Muslim neighbors and being a religion of peace. You don't find peace in the Quran. Usama, we were just dealing with this story here out of the Member of Parliament of Britain saying that over the 100 years, approximately 250,000 women and girls had been raped in Britain, 90% of the perpetrators being Muslim. But here's another concerning aspect of the story, because official reports confirm that local authorities failed to intervene for fear of being labeled racist. This wasn't ignorance, but institutional fear. In this sense, they say authorities knew, but preferred political quiet over protecting victims. Truly troubling.
Well, absolutely. You know, a gentleman, his name is Majid Nawaz, talked about that case in London, in England, a few years ago, and they did not know he's a Muslim. They thought he's just another Christian like me in England, tried to serve the peace between the Muslims and the British. And actually, he won the case against ACLU. He made over $3 million. And what he said is this: 2%, listen to this, Brother Jim, 2% of Muslim, Pakistani, and Afghani are responsible for 84% of child rape in England. 2% are responsible for 84%. And ACLU sued him, and somebody else sued him, and he won the case, and he made millions of dollars. And that is the reality, Brother Jim. The police will not talk about it because they need their job. They don't want to lose their salary. They're going to defund them. The politician will not talk about it because then the people, the liberals, the wacko of Europe, will fire them. They will get rid of them and then hire Muslim guys who will appease the Muslims and appease the liberals. It is, and the media will not talk about it because maybe the politician and whatever an authority will harm them. They're all living in fear. They're all living as cowards. They're all living in submission. After all, they all serve Allah, Satan. What's wrong with some men to rape children? That's exactly what the devil wants them to do, and that's exactly what Allah wants the Muslim to do. Brother Jim, I hate to say that, but here's the reality. Europe have no morality. If that child is not raped by her own father or her own grandfather, she's going to be raped by a Muslim man. There is no marriage in Europe. Literally, the number of married husband and wife have children is shrinking. So what they have, people live together, and people have children from different fathers. It's just immoral. They live in like animals, and what a great environment for Muslims to take over, and they practice the teaching of Islam, which is Allah, which is Satan, which allows the people to live immorally. So you see, all this work together.
Yeah, well, let's continue in the UK for a moment because, shocking. There's a job opening being posted for a Sharia, they're calling it a Sharia law administrator. And here's, it says, it happened this very month, July. Brits are outraged after Nigel Farage shared an actual job posting on the UK's Department for Work and Pensions website for a job opening at a company called the Manchester Community Centre. The job offered a salary of £23,500 to a legal assistant with a knowledge and understanding of Sharia law to conduct interviews with individuals and provide administrative work for a local charity called the Manchester Sharia Council. It says, welcome to Manchester Sharia Council, led by scholars and experts dedicated to providing guidance on matrimonial matters under Sharia law. They keep saying Sharia law. As an independent organization, we focus on addressing the unique needs of the Muslim community, emphasizing family life and personal well-being. The council employs an Islamic judge to make rulings on domestic matters for Islamic families, a parallel legal system to settle domestic disputes outside the British law. City Councillor for Lancaster responded to the news saying this is a government-funded job paid for by British taxpayers to promote Sharia on our soil. It's disgusting. It undermines our country, our laws, and everything we stand for. Your response?
Exactly. Brother Jim, first of all, for them to repeat in the same article, Sharia law, Sharia law, Sharia law, which is law. I know for sure these people in England living in la land, they are super stupid, useful idiots by whoever put them in that position. Well, in England now we have a two-court system. We got plenty of Islamic court system, which they practice Sharia, Islamic law, and we have the British system. And the Muslims are demanding these positions, these laws for their own people. I'm not going to say this is going to be affecting any British. This is me, Muslim, with my wife. I want to divorce my wife. I don't want to go to court and get a lawyer and spend $10,000 to divorce my wife. I just want to say to her, you're divorced, and she's divorced. So now practice Sharia in the case of divorce in England. So what I need to do, I need a court to understand that, which is Islamic court. That's fine for the Muslim for now. And the British are accommodating the Muslim and allow them to have this. After all, this is civil rights for the Muslims to live their own laws in their own courts, in their own system. But what the British don't understand, and here's the terrible news, Brother Jim, that court law, the Sharia court law, the Islamic law, will not only be practiced on the Muslim in England, but it will be practiced eventually on everybody in England. Why? Because some Muslim man is married to a British lady. And if you want to divorce her, he will tell her you're divorced. And then she may take her children and go home. No. You lose the house because it's my house, even though maybe she already bought it in her name or she is the one who started it. And then she loses her children. Why? Because Sharia, Islamic law, says the husband takes the children. So sooner or later, these laws, the Sharia Islamic laws, will be forced on everybody in England, including you British have to pay us the jizya, tribute tax, or we have to kill you.
Let's also go to Greece. This is from the Jerusalem Post again. An Israeli tourist, Stav Ben Shoshan, was enjoying a vacation near Athens when he was reportedly attacked by a group of Syrian migrants, one of whom bit off part of his ear while making anti-Semitic and pro-Palestinian comments. Usama, here again we have a case of another tourist, but this time in Greece, and being attacked by a Muslim.
Immigrant Muslims. Those who have no right even maybe to... When you say the word immigrant, to me, I believe it's the most likely they're illegal immigrants. Most likely. This is a big number. Percentage of illegal all over Europe now is beyond our imagination. Europe needed Donald Trump in every country in Europe. All Europe needs to get rid of all liberal politicians and replace them with Donald Trump to clean these countries. Otherwise, it's over. Right now, it is over. I mean, I think if Donald Trump go be a president in any of this country, it will be impossible for him to clean it up because what are you going to do? Remove 20%, 30% of the people out of the country? And they are already established their life there? It's impossible. So, yes, immigrants anywhere in Europe, they're there to perform jihad. They're there to terrorize the people of the West. It doesn't matter if you are a tourist in that country or if you are the home owner of that land. We're here to take over. And now whatever land we set our feet on, it is Allah's land, and we're going to take it over.
Yeah, and now they're just seeming to wake up, talking about, well, we do have an immigration problem in Great Britain now, and they're concerned about what's going on. And Donald Trump, President Trump, told them just the other day, you've got to get your house in order here. You've got to take action. And they said, well, we recognize we've got a problem here, but it is terrifying to see where the UK is going in this matter, and the U.S. has been following their steps. Certainly, the brakes have been put on illegal immigration in our country, but there's a lot of matters that we're going to be getting into the U.S. here at this time. But the U.K. is in sorry shape.
Brother Jim, if the British people close their borders and not allow any other illegals to go to the country, and most illegal are going to Europe are Muslims, most of them, it is already too late. They have plenty of cancer cells all over their country, all over their land. And these are wonderful baby makers. They will make more babies than you can imagine. I mean, literally, even if you stop all traveling to Europe, they got plenty. Muammar Gaddafi, the president of Libya, said that 65 years ago. He said, he said 15 years ago before he died, he said in 50 years, the number of Muslims we have in Europe are great enough to dominate all over Europe. We do not need jihadis. We do not need war. Just by what we have in Europe, they have babies and they have grandbabies, and it will be over for Europe. And people laughed at Muammar Gaddafi when he said that. Well, guess what? What he said is true.
Usama, as you're talking here, I mean, it's just staggering to see what is taking place in Europe, and the Muslim population has just been exploding. I just did a quick look here, and they're boasting, as of 2025, Muslims make up approximately 24.1% of the global population, totaling an estimated 2 billion people. What do you think of those numbers? Is that accurate?
They exaggerate, but believe it or not, we are shrinking in numbers worldwide. The growth rate among people in Europe is 1.3, 1.4, something like that. In some places, actually 1.1. That's not the survival. The survival number is 1.8. And the growth rate among Muslims in Europe is 8 point something.
Wow.
I mean, give it enough time. Another 10 years, there will hardly be new babies, but Muslims all over Europe.
Yeah. Okay, so on another front here, this from Worthy News. This is the Iran's theocratic regime issuing this religious decree, an official fatwa calling for the assassination of President Trump. This is the first time in modern history that a sovereign state has openly called for the murder of a sitting or former U.S. president. This is Grand Ayatollah Nasser Markarem Shirazi, one of the most powerful clerics in Iran, and in a state-sanctioned religious edict that legally and spiritually obligates followers to act. The cleric labeled Trump an enemy of God. And we understand that even other groups, they have a reward of 100 billion tomans, that's about $1.14 million, to anyone who brings the head of Donald Trump.
And they are practicing the word of Allah, Quran chapter 5, verse 33. Surely the reward of those who engage in war against Allah and His Messenger and go about to vandalize on the earth is only that they be killed or crucified or have their hands and their legs cut off opposite side. And obviously that is the word of Allah. So you do anything to hinder the work of the Muslims on earth, like what Trump did with Iran nuclear, you are already engaged in war against Muslims, against Allah, against Muhammad. Therefore, you must be put to death. And that is reality. People need to understand. They are not blowing hot air there. They're practicing the teaching of Islam. And if they can kill Trump, not just Trump, all the leaders of the world who stand against Muslims and Muslim agenda, Muslim plan to dominate the world, these people must be put to death.
Friends, you're listening to Crosstalk. Usama Dakdak talking with us here today about the true goal of Islam is to dominate and really to take control of the United States, to make us a Islamic nation, to put us under Sharia. That is the goal of Islam, and for domination. We are going to turn our attention now to some matters going on within the United States. And Usama, we understand, and we just received a story of what happened this past Sunday, video posted on social media. This is from WND.com, documented Muslims in large numbers stopping their luxury cars on a busy New York City highway, getting out of their vehicles to chant, "Globalize the Intifada." The roadway shutdown took place on the Belt Parkway in Brooklyn. This is an area that has home to some 462,000 Jews. And a large concentration of Jews, and they're yelling, stopping their cars, stopping the highway, and yelling, "Globalize the Intifada." We are 5 seconds from the break, so let's take the break, and I'm going to have you respond to this issue about what is now going on American soil in this heavy concentration of Jews. Representative, I mean, many people think of NYC as being the United States of America, and now we have the shutting down of highways taking place with the phrase, the yelling, globalize the Intifada. We'll get Usama's comment on this after the break. You're listening to Crosstalk on VCY America.
Isn't it strange how we individuals take more time planning for our 1 or 2 week vacation than we do preparing for eternity? The Bible says our life is but a vapor. None of us has the promise of tomorrow, and our eternal destiny is sealed at death. Wouldn't it be wise to investigate these things? In the book, Preparing for Eternity, author Mike Gendron contrasts the truth of God's Word with the teachings and traditions that he was taught for over 30 years in the Roman Catholic Church. He found that eternal life is not merited by good works, but is given freely by God's grace to those who put their faith and trust in Jesus Christ as all-sufficient Savior. The book, Preparing for Eternity, is available for a donation of $19 to VCY America. Call 1-800-729-9829.
You're listening to Crosstalk on VCY America. Usama Daktok is with us today from the Straight Way of Grace Ministry. His website, thestraightway.org. Thestraightway.org. He does travel the country speaking to churches. You can get more information about his ministry and topics available on his website, thestraightway.org. Just before the website, Usama, we talked about what happened in New York City just this past weekend. We got people who are living and listening in New York City right now. And this is really a display of Islamic power, on display in New York City, shutting down the freeway, yelling out to globalize the Intifada. The story indicates that New York now has between 275 and 300 mosques. This is a city that was attacked by Islamists back in 2001. And they, according to this story, they say an estimated 750,000 Muslims live in New York City. They make up 9% of the city's population and represent, according to this article, 22% of the entire U.S. Muslim population. Your response?
I wonder what Muslim country will allow the same people to go out in a peaceful protest shouting globalized Intifada. Can they do that in Egypt? No. Can they do that in Saudi Arabia? No. Can they do that to any Muslim country? I mean, I'm just trying to put my head around these protests all over America, all over the West. Why Muslims are not doing that in the Muslim countries? Because they don't allow them there to do it. Why they do it in America? Because we allow them to do it in America. We're accommodating them. We're saying, America, a country of freedom of speech. You can speak your mind. Whatever you want to do, go out and do it peacefully. Peaceful protest. That peaceful protest is going to be in violent protest. Just remember that, Brother Jim. On July 30, 2025, I said on your show, these peaceful protests will be in violent protest. It will be exactly as how much the Muslims want to do it. We do not allow this in the Middle East, and they're using our laws, as I heard it when I was a little kid in Egypt. 55 years ago, I was in my 20s, and I heard the Imam said, we will use the laws to take over their country. We will dominate the West because they have laws to allow us to dominate them. That's exactly what the people of the West need to understand. You cannot accommodate these people. If they cannot do that protest in the Muslim world, we will not allow them to do that protest in America. And that's how you end it. Otherwise, get ready for the burning of the cities and the kidnapping and the stealing and the raping of our women and our daughters all over any city of your choice in America.
Their goals are not hidden, any longer, and yet we have politicians, we've got clergy across this land, even the media refuse to listen, and those who do speak out against this, well, they're branded as being Islamophobic, racist, xenophobic as well.
I was listening to a radio broadcast, just came on my radio, on my car. I was traveling a few days ago. And I was shocked to my bones that after September 11, 25 years, Brother Jim, and we still bring idiot Americans, useful idiot, stupid useful idiot, that's the right title for them, to bring Muslims on their shows, and these are major shows all over the country, all over the radio, and they speak about the loving, peaceful Islam and how we need to get rid of the radicals, how we need to get rid of the extremists and the fundamentalists. I'm sick and tired of it. For how long the stupid American people be that stupid? Read a book, America. If you cannot afford it, we will send you some of these verses for free. You can have it and read it for free. I'm willing to sacrifice, send these books for free. If you really are broke, but there is no reason. Everybody have a phone. On your phone, you have a computer. On your computer, ask AI. Do we have any verses of the Quran teach love and peace? The answer is zero. What about the verses of the Quran teach hate and killing and jihad and savage way of life? They got hundreds of them. What's so hard for people to just use their phone while they're traveling on their cars, while they're using their bathroom to learn about Islam? It's been 25 years, and we know nothing about Islam today as we used to be before September 11th.
You know, it's very interesting that when we look at New York City, again, this was a city that was attacked on 9/11. We saw thousands of people killed in New York City, and to see Islam flourish like it is, and taking over the city, and now to know that there is a Muslim man who has called for the defunding of police, and that, you know, is going to protect citizens, give them public protection, upholding the law, and so he's calling for a defunding of police, and also he is refusing to condemn the statement to globalize the Intifada. Usama, this has got to be a concern for our nation's largest city, actually, possibly electing somebody to office who holds these views.
Let me repeat what I said in the previous question. This gentleman cannot run for the same office in my home country, Egypt. Let me say it again. If he tries to be a mayor in any city in Egypt, the government of Egypt will not allow him. They allowed them to do that because of the push of Barack Hussein Obama when he gave Egypt to the Muslim Brotherhood after 100 years of waiting for that day. And thank God the revolution was all over Egypt, and we arrested these senators and these congressmen and these mayors all over Egypt, and many of them were shot and killed on the spot because they refused to go to jail, to go to prison. And many of them right now are rotting in prison system in Egypt. And thank God that we do not have another liberals in America, because I was expecting, if Trump will not win last election, that they will be free from the prison and they will take over Egypt again. We do not allow Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt to run for any office. Why we allow them to run in America? It bothered my mind. I could not put my head around this. It's very simple, because once again, they're using our laws and they're using our ignorance of Islam to take over America. That is exactly why these people running for these offices.
And friends, just recently, Senator Ted Cruz, he is chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Subcommittee on Africa and Global Health Policy, has introduced into the U.S. Senate the Muslim Brotherhood Terrorist Designation Act of 2025. Just back on July 16th, he said this: the Muslim Brotherhood is a terrorist organization, and it provides support to Muslim Brotherhood branches that are terrorist organizations. One of those branches is Hamas, which on October 7th committed the worst single-day massacre of Jews since the Holocaust that included the murder and kidnapping of at least 53 Americans. They are committed to the overthrow and destruction of America and other non-Islamic governments across the world, and pose an acute threat to American national security interest. American allies in the Middle East and Europe have already labeled the Brotherhood a terrorist organization, and the United States should do the same, and do so expeditiously. Your response to that, Usama?
I said 7 years ago or so, maybe 8 years ago, when Mr. Trump won his first victory, I said, if he will not acknowledge that the Muslim Brotherhood in America are a jihadi terrorist organization, he have not done any dent in the domination of Islam to America. And sadly, 4 years went, and he never acknowledged them as a Muslim jihad. Let me say it this way. The Muslim Brotherhood was born in Egypt, my home country. And it actually started with Hassan al-Banna and followed by Sayyid Qutb and others. And the Egyptian government acknowledged them as a jihadi terrorist organization. That's why they cannot run for any office in Egypt. You can't. Imagine have Osama bin Laden coming to America and running for a Senate. How in the world are you going to allow a man you want to kill to be your senator, or to be your governor, or to be your congressman? You can't. These Muslim jihadi who are right now all over America running for office, these are not just naive Muslims, just Muslim by name. These are the terrorists. These are the ones who cannot run for office in Egypt, and we allow them in America. Let me repeat myself. If Mr. Donald Trump will not acknowledge that the Muslim Brotherhood in America, like CARE and others, ISNA, MSA, name them. There's 30 branches all over America here, 30 groups in all over this country. If you will not acknowledge them as a jihadi terrorist organization, that means Trump did not do any work worth a jack, worth a penny towards the Islamization of America.
So we have one who is seeking to be mayor, coming from a very, Islamist position in all of this, called a democratic socialist. But he is one that is, it says that Mamdani is a Shia Muslim who identifies with that faith's so-called 12er branch, whose belief system is centered on the idea that 12 infallible imams who descended from the Prophet Muhammad were divinely preordained to wield spiritual authority over humanity.
Yep, if Iran has the nuclear bombs, they will be in charge of the whole world, the Muslim, Sunni, and others, even though they're only 20%. Notice, by the way, his father stated, and that's a powerful statement, that the Muslim suicider, that's this gentleman who's running for a mayor, his father said that the Muslim who carry a suicide vest are equal to the other Muslims, any other people, a policeman or a military guy, in his own sight. I mean, there's nothing wrong about committing suicide jihad. This is the father of that man who's going to be running as a mayor. And I believe 100% this guy's going to win. Brother Jim, just quote me. The Islamist said he's going to win. Why? Because we got some Jewish people in New York who are voting for him. We got some Christians from the Middle East, Arab, Syrian, Jordanian, Iraqi, are voting for him simply because they are Democrats. And the Democrats are seeking power, and the liberals in America are in control of that city, so the chance for him to lose is slim. I'm talking about Christians from the Middle East. I'm talking about Jewish who live in New York who are Democrats are going to vote for that man. What you start our program was true, Brother Jim. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. They have no idea what they're doing, and they're simply digging graves by their own hands.
And
for themselves and for their children.
And it's not only New York City. There's a Muslim rising up in Minneapolis, Minnesota as well.
And it's going to grow to every city in America. And Muslims are doing a strategic goal beyond our imagination. They are moving people from one state to another state to specific location for the purpose of having the right number, the right amount of power to gain power in that piece of land. And then they move them from one place to another. They're like bees. They're working so hard, and we're so naive. We didn't even know that they're here. Until now, there are people in America do not know we have Muslims in America.
Friends, you're listening to Crosstalk. Usama Dakdak is our guest. I'd like to open up our phone lines to take your questions or brief comments. Our number is 800-733-9829. 800-733-9829. And yet, friends, we've just scratched the surface on this issue. But these are current illustrations of Islam pushing for world domination. And Usama, you talked about just a bit ago about, dying martyrs and so forth for Islam. This is a statement made earlier this year by Linda Sarsour on how it would be an honor to die a martyr. Here's what she had to say.
In Islam, we believe that when we are born, the day that we die is already decreed. So the opposition don't got power over my last day. So why, if I know that my day is going to come regardless, I'm not afraid of nobody taking me out. In fact, I would be honored to die a martyr.
Usama.
Yes, in Islam, before you were born, when you were 120 days inside your mother womb, before Allah put the spirit in you, because the first 120 days, that thing inside the mother womb is not a living creature. That's why in Islam you can abort a baby up to that date. But at that date, the angel of the womb will go inside the womb with a piece of paper and a pen, and he will write in it your age, how you're going to die, when you're going to die, if you're going to live as a happy or a miserable person, if you're going to be a believer or an unbeliever, if you're going to be a male or a female. These are the things which does not fit biologically, period, or anything else, or ideologically. So everything is ordained. It's already the fate of that Muslim person was ordained when he was not yet a living soul inside the mother womb. Then the angel will roll the scroll and throw the pen away, and whatever written on that piece of paper will happen. So Linda Sarsour, according to Islam, she's right. You know that Allah already ordained for you how you're going to die, where you're going to die, and if that's the case, you might as well go ahead, die for the sake of Allah in performing jihad as a suicider, because that will be the most honorable thing for you to do. And if it's not, even if you put the bomb around yourself, you will not die.
Friends, we're going to take a quick break and we'll come back to your phone calls. Have a couple open lines at 800-733-9829. 800-733-9829. Back in a minute here on Crosstalk.
For the Worldview Report, I'm Brandon House. Our website's worldviewtube.com. I've been teaching through the book of Revelation now for quite some time. Last night, lesson 44, and I completed Revelation chapter 18. When you get there to verse 13 of Revelation 18, you know what jumped out at me? There are many things Babylon is trading in, but one of them, it says they are trading in slaves and human lives. Some translations say bodies and human souls. You know what they're doing here, don't you? It's not just slavery, it's sex slavery. You know what's interesting and sad is the sex slave industry is growing globally. And many of the drug cartels are now involved in sex slavery. They sell a drug, someone shoots it up, snorts it, or smokes it, it's gone. They can sell a sex slave over and over. Sex slavery is growing globally. It seems as though the stage is being set for so many of the things that will come about through this new world order coming out of Babylon are even coming into being now. I'm Brandon House.
The website for our guest today, thestraightway.org. Thestraightway.org. A number of materials and resources available to be of help to you there, or you can also use that site to reach out to Usama to come to your area to speak and to warn as well, thestraightway.org. Let's get to the phone lines. Let's get to, first of all, Jim in Wisconsin. You're on the air.
Hello, Brother Usama. We've talked before, and I was right in the middle of posting a lot of warnings about this particular subject, and I see there's a calling for the president to ban Muslim Brotherhood and other groups, but as I'm interacting with Trump supporters, a lot of them aren't true Christians. They don't have discernment. They don't see the danger that we're in, and they're too silent. What can we do besides pray and warn? Anything else?
Okay, thank you.
I believe we have to continue to speak out loud and lead the people to understand Islam, not from the point of view of some Muslims in America, but from the point of view of Allah and Muhammad. So we need to educate ourselves about Islam and share these truths about Islam with our neighbors. And it's very good also to point them to what the Muslims are doing in Europe and in major places in America like New York and Minnesota, because that will continue to grow all over the land.
So it's really waking one individual up at a time regarding the threat.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you for the call. We've got Todd calling from Michigan's Upper Peninsula. You're on the air, Todd.
Yes. God's going to use the Muslims to bring the lukewarm church in America to our knees. And the other thing I see, too, is about Israel's going to be all right because Ezekiel 38, verses 11 and 12, the walls of Gaza are going to come down, and Gaza's going to be in the hands of Israel. But the thing that people don't realize, too, is Isaiah chapter 19, Hamas is going to sneak into Egypt, and they're going to work with the Muslim Brotherhood. And that's all I got to say. Check out Isaiah 19.
Thank you. Any comments, Usama?
Well, I believe in the end, maybe what my brother is sharing is true, but I believe in the end, the Lord is going to bless Egypt, and Egypt will not go in war against Israel. They're trying to come to Egypt many times. That's why we have a wall. If you think Mr. Trump brag about his wall between us and Mexico, you need to look at the walls between us and Gaza. It's actually 3 walls. It's impossible for them to come in. I don't know how they're going to get in. They maybe go around other countries, but only God knows how this is going to end.
Let's go next to, a caller from Wisconsin. You're on the air. Caller, go ahead.
Hello?
You're on the air. Please go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, it is right what he said, the pastor. You know, you can't play with the devil. You can't receive nothing from the devil. The devil is coming to kill and destroy. So what these people are doing, they will give you gifts. And after that gift, they coming and kill you because this is just how they are. He's telling 100% the truth because I know most of the American people don't want to believe the foreigners that's here. They don't want to believe us. And that is so, then our heart got so broken and say, we coming from our places just to come here because we're running away
Thank you so much. Another warning there, and quoting, from John chapter 10 about the thief comes forth to steal, to kill, and destroy. And Usama, that's what Islam does, but I'm so thankful for verse 10 that Jesus said, I am come that you might have life and that you might have it more abundantly.
Yeah. But here is the problem, Brother Jim. Most Muslims in America are practicing 328, Quran 328, which teaches them the exception, which is when Allah said, don't take infidels for friends rather than believers, except that you should guard yourself from them cautiously. To protect yourself from the infidels, you have to take them as friends. We need to understand the deception in Islam. If not, there will be plenty of Americans get deceived and say, oh, not all Muslims are bad. When in reality, the one who pretend to be good, they're practicing deception.
We have Joseph calling next from Phoenix, Arizona. Joseph, you're on the air.
Hello, Jim. Thanks for taking my call. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're on the air. Please go ahead.
Okay. I spent 8 years in Southeast Africa, Swaziland, which is between Mozambique and the Republic of South Africa. And I made friends there with a Muslim imam. He had been in the Moonies, the Korean cult, and he realized it was a false cult, and he cast around for a religion. And it seemed to him that Islam had such a following that he'd try that. He had advanced to the rank of imam in a few years, and I asked him, do you really like this religion? And he said, it's a bloodthirsty religion. It was a perfect opportunity. Yeah. I gave him a copy of the Bible and suggested he try Jesus Christ.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for sharing that, Joseph. Calling it a bloodthirsty religion, is that an adequate description?
Absolutely. And it is not just that. If you study the history of Islam, as my friend Mark summarized it, it's one sentence, a gushing river of blood. So if you don't want to believe in what we're teaching, what we're reading from the Quran, look at the past, 1,450 years, nothing but blood.
We have William in Florence, Kentucky. You're on the air, William.
Yes, Jim. I used to live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and Plantation, and my next-door neighbor, my family, I have 6 kids. I have 2 sons and 4 daughters, and this was about 15 years ago, and my next-door neighbors were Muslim. And the father saw me walking with my family outside, and he said, "Oh, I can't believe you have 6 kids." And I said, "Yeah, how many kids you have?" And I said, he said, "I got 10 sons." And he showed me 10 sons, and I weigh about 220 pounds. I'm 6'2", and all of his sons were as big as I was. And they all, he told me, he said, "We're here to take over America," and he said, we can have each one of our wives have at least 10 children. And me and my wife, we put up our house and sold it and came up here to Kentucky. But anyway, I just couldn't believe it. He just was so bold and just said, "We're here to take over the the country." So I just wanted to call and say that, brother.
Thank you, William.
Yeah, it's true, brothers. Muslims in America never stop having babies because they believe if you do anything to stop your wife of being pregnant by taking any pills or any way of stop having babies, that is sin. They believe Allah made women to have babies. Allah made men to have women pregnant in the story.
Wow. We're down to 5 seconds, and I apologize to other people on hold. We don't have time for any further calls. But, friends, I trust today's program has been a wake-up call regarding Islam pushing for world domination. It's not the first time that message has gone forth from this program here. Usama's been with us multiple times, but we're seeing more and more current illustrations on that push and what is happening to propel Islam around the world and even here in the United States. Usama, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Brother Jim, and I hope and I pray that people will share this broadcast with others as well.
Friends, thestraightway.org, Usama's website. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Crosstalk via satellite and the internet from VCY America. Views expressed may or may not be those of this station. For a CD of today's program, send a donation of $6 or more to VCY Tape Ministry, 3434 West Kilbourne Avenue, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53208, or download by RSS or podcast from crosstalkamerica.com. And join us again for Crosstalk.